There's a story people used to tell about a guy who lived by the sea. This guy would go out every night to the pier that he built with his own two hands, and he'd say, someday I'll have a son to carry on all my rights and all my wrongs, an heir to bear the fruits of my labor, to reap the crops I have worn with both bare hands, bloody and tired. And the man would say this to himself every single day. And then one day, he leaned out over the pier, farther and farther and farther, until he fell. And in the ocean's embrace, he found something. Good morning, afternoon, and/or evening, and welcome to After the End, an Offworlders story. I am your host, Young Foxy, and I have exactly one adventurer here with me to tell an exciting prequel to a tale that will air tomorrow. I would like this one adventurer to now introduce themselves, who they're playing today, and where they can be found on the internet if you have the time. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm Petty, or Energy 9, or Alicia, depending on the corner of the internet you know me from. It varies. Today I will be playing Frey Hollow. How she looks remains to be seen. We will see that in the session as we go forth. You can find me on Twitter at Energy98. You can find me on Twitch at Petty Energy. And Alicia is just if you actually know me. So there you go.
And of course, if you don't know me by now, I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite fox, and I will be your game maestro for the evening, also known as the Arbiter. We begin with a scene. It's later in the evening. Hard to tell with the way nights work on this planet, but certainly dark by now. A gathering of people still move about, rapidly making their way towards domiciles or whatever attendance they have to get to. The noise is low enough that you're not distracted by it, but certainly present. What's much more present is the constant ringing of raindrops against your skin and clothing, the clouds heavy and dark over the night sky, and thunder ringing in bits here or there as a storm has battered this town for nearly the past few hours. And it's in this humble abode, this pocket of civilization, that we find a young woman attendant to a life she has lived for so very long. Frey, on an average evening this late in the night, as most begin to make their way to their homes and find their places of rest, what would you be doing right now? I think you're muted still, by the way.
Frey would be talking very quietly to herself, almost quiet enough you couldn't tell. It might seem like a mute button. You don't know. You don't know her life. So she'd be sitting, maybe quietly murmuring to herself at some like little outdoor bar stand thing, probably with a drink, just contemplating things, humming a little.
You stand in this moment of isolation, fully to yourself in a world, the rain battering down, the storm soothing your thoughts. People pass by, most don't pay attention to you. A few might glance here or there, and maybe even a murmur here or there, but nothing too serious. It's as you're sitting here, enjoying this time to yourself, that you remembered you had an appointment to keep soon. A few hours ago, you were busying yourself about town, perhaps in Market Square, just looking for some sustenance, something simple to eat. And you came across a small family, a father, a mother. A young child was with them, but the look on his face said they had more. Far too tired for just one child. He approached you kind of shyly, but pretty simplistically, and just asked, the tr- you're the traveler, yes, the pilot.
Oh, yes, I am. It is nice to meet you. You
Uh,
may call me Frey.
Janice, this is my wife Mira, our young son Arda. We have two others. We we need to leave town tonight. I understand the preparations are very, very short term, and I'm very sorry for putting this on you, but my mother, she's in Shelmar, and she's very ill.
It is fine. I would be happy to help.
He kind of begins to murmur for a bit, and then his wife, Mira, speaks up. This is our first time traveling as such. Is there a way we compensate you normally? We don't have much in the way of coin, but
Oh, and Frey would try and make a very quick assessment of those people and try and figure out what they could afford to pay and half that and give them that number.
you look at them, glance them over. The clothes on the man indicate he definitely looks like a miner of some kind. There's gruff and dirt and grime all over his clothing. He's definitely just off and probably got off of a shift. The woman's clothing seems much less worn. You wager she either works in a much more homely tradition or doesn't work. Um, but there's not really a sense of any real wealth about them. They seem like they're maybe just below the standard sort of like townsfolk who live here.
In that case, Frey would pull out of one of her many coat pockets like a little notepad and just says, "Here, write your name on this, your start and end destination, and that will be all."
She blinks at you for a bit, slowly, kind of hesitantly takes the pad and writes her name, thinks for a second, and then writes, of course, his name and all the children's name. She doesn't know if this is like part of the magic or anything. She just assumes. So she writes all their
Sure.
names down, writes their destination, writes their end date, and also draws a little symbol in the corner. You'd know it as a religious symbol from the area. It is a sort of not super well known church, but one that effectively just offers charity and well-being to travelers and people who enter into anywhere they go. It's sort of like a just a general sort of like when you want to offer someone hospitality but don't really have much to offer them, you kind of offer them a prayer to this god. Just it's a very simple
Sure.
symbol, and she draws that and then hands it back to you. Just thank you. You are so incredibly kind.
I I believe your journey will probably exact your price. Don't worry about me. I'm just a way to get to the next step.
The man nods, puts a hand on her shoulder. Just we'll get going now, but tonight after the eve.
Hmm. I will be here.
Of course. Uh, and that's sort of, as that flashback settles, you kind of remember, yeah, Frey, you had that conversation earlier, and you were just a bit, not too lost in your thoughts, but as you're sort of humming out of that haze, you remember, yes, I had somewhere to be.
Right. Ah, right. Hmm. I won't be getting those new shoes, but that's okay. Maybe next month.
Forlorn thoughts about new shoes in your brain. You walk through the, at this point, mostly empty town streets. It's rather quiet. There's just a few individuals who move through. The wind has begun to pick up just a little, enough to breeze your coat just a little, but not enough to bite at your bones or anything. As you move through the long streets towards the open, sort of almost hexagonal town square, there's a large fountain in the middle, which is still slowly letting off some trickles of water.
Mm-hmm.
The family is there, all five of them together, bundled up in cloaks and gathered up, huddling together. The woman appears to be telling the two oldest a story while the father holds the youngest and kind of just swaddles him a bit. And as they see you approach, he waves to you, just Oh, you're here. We almost thought you wouldn't come.
Oh, my apologies. And I imagine since that conversation I had earlier, I imagine Frey like got like one of those got like a large sort of submarine-esque sandwich and sort of and says like, "Oh, my apologies. They got my order wrong at the shop, so I had to get a new one. I can't actually eat this, so here. It seems not all of you can have much, but there you go. I need my hands for navigating anyway."
He kind of like looks at the child in his hands, and then the little kid actually reaches out and takes the sandwich, and he just nods. Thank you.
I mix up at the store. Don't worry about it. I'm just glad it won't go to waste.
He smiles. We'll stay over here out of your way whenever you're ready. And Frey, I'd
Hmm.
like you to take a moment to please describe how does one begin the process of traveling between places here?
Absolutely. So when so one thing that starts the process is so there's like a little dock area, but there's no sort of vehicle that's apparently there.
Mm,
It sort of just looks like a dock. It's like when you're at a train platform and the train's not there,
right.
so there's just a big gap.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to that. So Frey sort of puts her hands out to the sides, draws a big half circle over her head with both arms, puts them at her waist, and then lifts up, and then sort of seemingly out of a void, there's this long oval shaped translucent sort of surfboard that comes out of the ground. It has rails on the side, and there's little overhead handles you can grab onto. There's also slots in there, slots that become more apparent as you step onto board that you can place your feet into for balance. That's what's immediately comes up.
Mm,
And then there at one end of the oval there's sort of like a there's another boundary there that's opaque.
mm.
So the passengers and Frey would all come in through the back. Please select your sections as you like, and then Frey would tap on the completely opaque part. It slides open, and then Frey will step through it. Slides closed. Inside, it's sort of inside is a chamber that kind of looks like it's all silver. Like it's like I don't like if I don't know if you've ever seen like imagine like like T1000 that's
Yeah.
all liquid.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah, like
mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm.
a room of that there.
I
So it's
gotcha. I
this
gotcha.
invisible, but yeah. So it's that room. And then and Frey just kind of stands there to start, reaches out, silver gloves kind of slide onto her hands, and then she closes her eyes and begins the chant that will start this transport. Finding flow path, trace on, initiate, and then she'll like lean down into like a crouch as if she actually is like surfboarding. Initiate flow path, and the vehicle will kind of drop kind of suddenly, and it'll feel as if you're on the it would if you were on it, it would feel as if you were on the water.
That's the coolest thing ever, actually. Holy shit. Okay, so as you're entering into this completely familiar for you place of
Hmm.
magical energy, you take a look back at the passengers who've all boarded now. The mother is sitting and holding kind of holding the hands of the two oldest, who are just babbling at her, and the father is still swaddling the youngest, who just has the widest look of just complete wonder on his face, just absolute amazement at this. And they settle in, just kind of a bit definitely unsure. It's definitely the first time they've done this, but eventually they look comfortable enough.
It's a little because they cannot see Frey while she's piloting. It's just that wall,
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they're
and
they're
they,
still a little confused.
yeah, they can. And then as after there's the drop, Frey will sort of tap a board that comes up. There's a switch. There is a switch on the wall if you wish to not see your journey as you take it. Otherwise, you'll be able to see various geographical features as we continue. And Frey sounds same, even keel the entire time, even though there are like bumps and whatnot in these waves you cannot see, but they experience.
So hi everybody, meet Frey, the traveler, otherwise known as Magic Surfboard Railroad Tour Guide, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty badass. But beyond that, uh, they nod solemnly and kind of just allow you to begin your journey. It's a completely natural whoosh of energy as almost these digitized structures and geometries of magical energy begin to coalesce and move around you in this sort of flow as it's very, very comfortable and natural to you. It's almost it settles slowly, the thunderstorm washing away in silence behind you, the wind dulling out to nothing. Everything becomes just this calm, quiet as you step into this calm place of magic you have known for so very long. The journey to Shellmeyer isn't too long, I imagine. You've taken it a few times. You relax yourself into this calm, this feeling of travel. I imagine so comfortable you could do it with your eyes closed by now. It's like breathing almost. So I wonder, as your mind doesn't have to focus on doing this, what is it focusing on right now, Frey?
Well, whenever Frey does any sort of magically inclined thing, there's always a little pang of sadness as she tries to remember her father. She remembers she has one, but not what he looks like, not his age. Sometimes a whisper of a name. So there's always a drift to there. How long she thinks about it varies from time to time.
Of course. You spend some time in this place of forlorn calm, reflecting on a figure you can only edge out the memories. It's like whenever you try to move your mind space to the memories of this person, your father, it's like it just doesn't exist. There's a hole almost there. Something should be. It's not like you don't know. It's just a hole in your memory almost. And you've wondered after this for who knows how long. You spend some time traveling through the flow, and you notice almost, at first it doesn't seem like much. The haze of non-color you experience when traveling is something you've come to see a million times, but there's bits you don't recall seeing before. Small flecks of purple oranges and quick bright blue whites, just flecks of it. Distortions in the force almost. It's not jarring or jutting, but it's certainly present.
Huh. That's new.
You know what else is new? You're slowing
What
down.
else is where we shouldn't be there yet?
Not for a while.
Tries to bring up a view screen, like a wave of a hand.
It's amazing. The haze of silver, almost color you're so used to seeing isn't there. Instead, it's like starlight almost. Purple, blacks, and blues, and yellows, and a haze all around the area around you. You're not on your planet anymore. And what's weirder is, well, no, that's probably the weirdest thing right now, actually, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest. It's definitely that.
Freya will be quite concerned with that and sort of try to. So feels like she's not on a planet. Is she still in the? And so she's not even in like the silver gray room anymore, or is she still
You're still
kind of
in
in?
there. You're definitely still in your silver gray room of train. Like you're still in your vehicle, no question.
Okay,
But
just not.
yeah, wherever your vehicle is now, it's not on your planet.
Okay. If she brings up like the passenger view screen, are they back there?
No, it's empty.
Frey's gonna sort of try and tap to her force and try and sense like, oh, okay, this is clearly somewhere. This is clearly somewhere new. Um, I think as a habit, she's still gonna try and do her familiar. If she's still in her like navigation pod, she's still gonna do like the find flow path, trace on, and try and see if there's any sort of origin point, like familiar point she can find. And
You.
I think her eyes flare kind of like white when she does it this time.
Oh,
Put
that's
a
so
little
fucking
extra
cool.
into it.
God, that's so fucking cool. Okay, sorry. Besides me fangirling. Okay. So, the flow path is always felt in front of and around you. It's always right there for you normally. It's it's still there. You still feel it, but it's farther from you than it should be. And there's this impossibly distant void between you and what you recognize as the flow path, but it's not gone. You can't not reach it. It's just it's impossible to explain. It's Have you ever heard the theory about how to explain universal expansion?
I don't think I have,
So rather than
actually.
thinking about it as like a room and like a thing in a room that gets bigger and bigger, because that's like a thing getting bigger in space. The universe is space. So think about it instead as a balloon, and you're an ant that exists on the balloon. As the balloon inflates, you don't notice anything getting bigger. It's literally the space itself expands. There's a second ant. Neither of you have to move, but the space between you rapidly increases. This feels like that. And like anytime you think about, try to conceptualize how far away if this is, it just feels farther.
All right.
Yeah, you heard that.
Frey's gonna like sort of whoever you are, do what you're going to do or don't.
The moment after you say that, in your viewport, just in front of you, starlight gathers up into a thin, translucent line and then expands into a rectangular shape with a rushing sound. It remains open, hazing in light for a while, and then a figure steps out of it. It's a woman. You could assume if you were to guess at first. Her features seem feminine presenting. Her hair is silver white and cropped in a ponytail at the back of her head, and her face is focused. She wears a single piece, almost like a suit, a uniform. It's entirely black, save for a cutout at the chest area with an under sort of shirt that is a dark gray. And she has several chevron like pins on her left, I guess, like her left flap of her uniform. She steps out of the portal. It closes behind her. I just want to talk. You want to come out?
Tapping the intercom button. I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Crystal,
Then talk.
you see her open her mouth to speak. So this is. He did it. The madman did it. I can't believe I'm having to actually do this. Oh god, where do I start here? Um so this is the veil. It's not life. It's not the other place either. It's in the middle. Before you start, no, I didn't bring you here. Not on purpose, at least. Turns out, uh, what do you call it? The term we use is temporal mortal distortion energy anomaly. It's what we call people in universes that can do things like you do. Um, the flow, I think, is the term for it here. Turns out it comes from here. Did you know that?
Is that your full explanation?
No, Frey. It's not.
Why do you know my name?
See, that's the funny thing. I didn't until I got here. Look, a lot of this is going to make a lot more sense for you. Maybe. That depends on, well, I guess, when I get my orders. But until then, we have some time to talk, and I'm curious. Don't ask who I am. If this conversation goes in your favor, then you'll get to find that out eventually. If not, you won't exist long enough to be worried about it. What's more important, though, how much do you know about your father, Frey?
Which one?
The one you were thinking about not too long ago.
Not enough. Do you know him? Frey sounds that much more animated.
I sense there's a lot you don't know about. As for how much of it I know, well, that's it's the tough part. We should know everything. Not you. We, as in the people I represent. We should know everything about him. But we don't. Because he broke the rules.
The universe was going to break. Is that you all's preference? You
172.47 billion 348,7,127,642. 47. That's how many sentient souls currently exist in your universe. Do you know when all those people were supposed to die?
no.
You do. It's like you said, the universe was about to break, right? Stunned silence, or
I can't weigh what's better for you. You've had your journey and I've had mine, but I cannot regret helping prevent their death.
I know. I know. We know. I I don't envy you, Frey. I sure don't envy him. The choice he made, the choice you live with. I don't envy you. Never have. And I've been keeping my eyes on you for a while.
I imagine at this point, like Frey's a little concerned if she exits the vehicle, it'll cease to exist. But so she's doing one of those like project image of herself onto like the front of it
Mm-hmm. She
to make
she just kind of
feet with my.
cute trick.
This seemed to make it easier, perhaps, but no, I living with a choice and regretting it. They're both choices. I live with it. My journey is tattered, but it continues.
She chuckles a bit and offers you just like the most tired smirk and just says, "You know, Frey, you do what I do long enough, the whole concept of choice gets real muddy." It's not important though. What is what I tell you next. I gave you the number already.
Yes.
And to simplify what I do and who I represent, because it's all you need to know for now. Let's say the people I represent are a broker agency. We lend out a certain kind of currency, and we expect that currency back. Sometimes kind of with a bit of interest. It's a complicated thing.
Is it souls?
Exactly. You catch on fast.
Sometimes.
So if my employer, let's call them that, is a broker agency, I'm what you call a debt collector. Let's go with that. And I got a ledger to balance out. A big one.
You're not killing this universe.
No. No, I'm not. This universe will be perfectly fine. Those people you're transporting, they'll wake up in the town they were headed to. You, however, she turns, presses a single button, says, "Oh, I just got my orders. Stand by." She turns, clicks a button. A small hologram of another figure, similarly dressed, with a helmet on, like a sort of matte black visor like helmet on, appears. They begin to talk back and forth in this language that just kind of sounds like clicking to you, almost. It's very strange. Um, she makes a bit of an incredulous face, composes herself, talks some more, offers a strange salute, her hand almost like a slicing up across her chest, like so. The figure repeats the gesture, zips away. Well, isn't this a fun turn? As I was saying, you, on the other hand, actually, she snaps her fingers a bit. That portal of starlight pops up just to her side. You need to come with me.
Can I take my vessel?
It goes where you go, believe it or not. I should state the terms, though. There's a couple. So, one, you don't come back here. Probably ever.
That is fine.
Traveler, right? 2. So I said we're not going to kill this universe to balance out my ledger. We're not. But you're going to you're going to be helping me out for a bit. Just making sure you're aware of that.
Help is a broad term.
It
Continue.
is. The third thing, and it won't happen immediately, but it will happen. We don't know a lot about the way this universe interacts with the other temporal barriers. It's complicated based on what he did. But we've run the tests, and we can definitely say this. You cross through this portal, eventually, you're going to forget him. Entirely. This might not be a bad time for giving you the other terms before you answer, by the way. If you don't mind. You could not come with me. Trust me, it's not the choice I wanted from this interaction. But let's say the higher ups have informed me that it's a priority 1 situation. You'll get the details as you need them, but you don't come with me, it's a lot more than just this universe you might have to worry about. If you care or not, that's really not my business, but I kind of have to. It's the job. Your call.
I'm the only one who remembers, though. Well, I suppose you all know him as well. So his memory will live on. In a sense.
You'll see her face soften suddenly. Almost sad. She doesn't say anything, though.
Their memory was my guiding star. But I didn't know where I was going. And I can't let what they did fall to ruin. So if my memory of him is the price, so be it. This is what the next leg of my journey looks like.
She almost just deepens that saddened face. Just, you've given a lot, haven't you?
The universe continues to ask. So I must have more to give.
I wish I could say we wouldn't ask you for much, but I don't like lying.
I get to keep this, though. That's something.
It's impressive. I've been a lot of places, seen a lot of things, but it's impressive. I'll give you that.
Looking at the door path that was just to the right or left. I forgot which direction you said. Just to the side of figure. Frail, kind of like sink back into the typical pose. Finding flow path. Trace on.
You'll see her reach to her thing. Let her in. The flow realigns, shifting itself and collecting and coalescing within this place you've been in for some time, and it feels natural. It's crystallizing, harmonizing almost. She lets the wrist down. The portal grows bigger to accommodate the size of your vehicle. Whenever you're ready.
Initiate flow. Goes forward.
The crystals and stars shift, becoming these very familiar patterns of non-color all around you as you slowly accelerate towards the gate. As you fully step all the way into it, those whispering voices you could hear in the distance, you suddenly become just very cognizant of them, at least somewhat. And you recognize that whatever they are, whatever those things are, they are not of your universe or possibly any other. And as you step into that golden light, you hear a faint sound as the portal closes behind you. And as you step through the veil, consumed by entire light, in the same way I asked the three others, I must ask you, what is the last thing you think of?
A blade of grass blowing in the wind. And then disappearing to the horizon.
The sun high, mountains cresting just below it, a wide ocean of possibility out just beneath that, and a skyline painted orange, reds, and yellows. That single blade of grass drifts off into the light and disappears, and everything goes black for just a moment. And with that, we bring this to a close. When the old man jumped into the sea, embraced by the twilight of ocean song, he sang back, mouth wide and lungs open to salt caress, teeth jagged like daggers in the night, fingers splayed like a lover's embrace. And the ocean told him, one day you will have a son, one to hold all your rights and all your wrongs, one to bear the fruits of your labor, to sow the seeds of the crops you have placed in the dirt with hands bloody and tired. And when this son sees all the sin you have plotted, he will weep, for he will know that no son can escape his father's wrongdoings. And with that, we bring this session to a final close. This has been After the End, an Offworlder story, the last prequel session before we head directly into episode 1 tomorrow. So if you thought we were already done here, come right back tomorrow. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I'd like to have my one lovely adventurer go ahead and tell us who they are, who they've been, where we can find them at, anything else they want to plug going on, and any reactions they have to what's happening so far. And then we'll go ahead and get ourselves the fuck out of here, as it were. Alicia, the stage is yours.
Sure thing. Absolutely, thank you. So again, I am Petty Energy on Twitch, where I stream Sunday evenings. Tends to be sort of it can be board game shenanigans, or sometimes I try and I'll pretend I'm good at Hollow Knight again. It depends. We'll see what flavor it is. You can also follow me on Twitter at Energy98, which whenever I change my schedule, I put it there. So that's the best place to keep up with it. Sometimes there are snake pictures, sometimes it's puns. You'll never know. Those are the two main places to find me. I guess I have an Instagram, but I don't do anything with it. I have a TikTok. I don't do anything with it. So you can follow me if you want. There are 2 videos.
There you go.
That will probably only be 2 ever.
2 whole videos. There it is. One more than one.
It's true.
Well, and folks, I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite fox. I have been the arbiter for tonight. After the End is a tale of my own weaving. It's a story that I am telling with 4 of my incredible friends who are all wonderful storytellers and adventurers and writers in their own. please stay tuned for what I hope will be an absolutely mind-boggling adventure. You can find me on Twitter sphere at Big Foxy. That's BIG_FOXXII. I dunk on right-wingers. I slay fascists. I have a good time doing it. And when I'm not doing that, I'm usually here over on Neon Lights Roleplay. You should definitely give us a follow over in the socials tab if you'd like. Here at Neon Lights Rplay on Twitter, or right here at Neon Lights Roleplay on the on the Twitch and such. You can also join our Discord if you'd like, where we do Discord stuff, which is pretty lit. You can come and hang out and join new campaigns. The next time you'll see us is tomorrow here for After the End, and after that you'll see some other streams coming up. We have plenty of new campaigns coming, as well as running things, including our Naruto 5e rotating one-shot campaign, A Blade's Will. It's been going super fun, and everyone who's played has been loving it. So if you want to be a dope anime ninja, then come talk to me. Speaking of which, we should talk to me about this. We should talk. Anyway,
on it.
We'll talk.
Talking's hard.
I know it's difficult, but it's okay. That's what we're here for. I say that if I don't talk for a living. Beyond that, that's mostly where you'll see us and or me. Thank you all so much for tuning in and hanging out. Please be sure to follow myself, Alicia, and the other lovely adventurers who are not joining us tonight. The lovely Miss Osera X Franco playing Timothy Shade, the incomparable DMF Saint playing Adam Anthony, and the ever-loving Michelle playing Arcane. They will all be joining the two of us here tomorrow for the first official session of After the End, where you can all finally figure out what the fuck is going on here, I hope. Other than that, that's all I got. Alicia, any closing thoughts?
Keep your lips moisturized.
You gotta do that. Super important. Now I want to lick my lips because you said something. Now I gotta do it.
See?
I hate you for that.
Get chapstick.
Well,
work with me, people.
Well, listen. Nobody that we're following is currently live to raids, and we're not gonna worry about that unless you have somebody we should raid. But
I don't think so.
Let me know. But I will offer a shout out because I had told that I have to if we ended early. Tonight at 8 p.m. over on TPK Roleplay is another episode of Oathsworn, an Odyssey of the Dragon Lords campaign run by the amazing Turk Accented. It's got some awesome players in it, some friends of mine who I think are just super incredible people. It's been a great fucking campaign. I'll be there in chat, so I hope I see you there as well. We can't raid them, but so if I don't see you over TPK, I'm gonna be super upset. Other than that, that's where we'll be for the rest of the evening. Please, ladies, gentlemen, and all those in between and beyond that binary of the internet, take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, be good. Take care, everybody, and bye-bye.
Toodles.